Hi guys, welcome to another random episode of the Believing Podcast, a very spontaneous one. I got a DM today, not a DM, a mail. I haven't gotten in a long time, and it was really strange, and I felt like I had to do something. So he just said, I'm not going to say this person's name obviously. You should talk about erectile dysfunction. Older people are suffering from it. It'll be worse for the younger ones. He's thriving on the silence. You should have the balls to talk. My first thought was, the fuck is this person talking to me like this? And I remember that I'm supposed to be taking news like this, and however you put it, I think it is my duty to try to do something about it. So this is for men, right? And I'm not even talking about people who are necessarily my age or even older than me. I'm talking about people who are younger. I want people who are like coming of age, maybe 16 thereabouts and above, to listen to this, right? So erectile dysfunction is obviously when your penis is not working, so you can't get it up, or even when you do, it goes back down and maybe it leaks oil and it's tired or whatever. So I'm probably not qualified enough to talk about this topic, but I feel like I should because I've seen people suffer from it, and this is a disease that only men suffer from. I don't know if there's an equivalent of it for women. Maybe it would be the inability to get wet, but I don't know if it does the same damage to your mind and your confidence as it does to men. And this thing he says about silence is absolutely correct, because men would not speak about these issues even to other men. Men be all about ego and pride and status, and you would not, even if you wanted to talk, you have to. That person has to be on a certain level with you before you can discuss this thing, and that's why he's thriving on silence, like this person says. I nearly said their name right now. So and why is it not talked about enough? It's the same reason why you can buy a fake product from an online vendor that says they will increase your dick size, and it doesn't work, and you can't complain because, yeah, why the fuck are you trying to increase your dick size? So these are the same reasons why nobody's going to complain about it. But really, let me pull up some stats that might blow your mind as a man, right? So they said by the year 2025, the number of ED, that is erectile dysfunction, ED cases across the world is expected to reach 322 million. 322 million are going to have men are going to have problems with getting their thing up. That's a lot of men, right? And nobody talks about it. It's not an issue. There's no rights activist somewhere or somebody when the people protest and create awareness and raise issues. Nobody talks about this one. So it's like killing people silently. It's annihilating marriages silently and relationships and stuff like that. People's confidence. And as a man, you need your confidence. You need to be able to stand in places and feel yourself being an appropriate member of that group or that room without feeling any less when you see somebody else. When somebody else talks about something that you know deep down you're lacking in. So yeah, I'm here to help prevent it, because I'm not a doctor. I can't really help cure anything if it's too late for you. But here's something I saw when I was doing my research for this thing. Mind you, I saw this mail tonight, right? So I didn't have much time to, but I had to do something. So and there's other cause. There's a cause that I know particularly can cause this thing, and it's masturbation, right? It's masturbation, yeah. And you can lie to yourself and say you don't watch porn, but really, you don't lie to yourself. All of us have seen porn, and for men, most of us have had periods in our lives where we had it in our phones, or at advanced stages in your life where you can just like access it on the internet and be done with it eventually. And I cannot preach against porn, because you're not going to listen to this and just quit it entirely. But what I deduce and what I've heard and the things that I've heard from people is that in your mid to late 20s, you begin to see the signs of these things. So there's some other stats here I'm going to say. They say nearly half of men by the age of 35 would have struggled with erection issues. So if there's five is too much. If there is 3 billion men, 1.5 billion men by the age of 35 would have had issues with that. And then that makes it look like it's normal, but it's not normal. It's just a problem that has gone untackled. So here's one thing you can do. If you're like, I don't know, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and you're watching this, you probably just came of age and you are noticing these things and you want sex, and you're not at the stage in your life where women are throwing themselves at you, or where you can easily get, or you're not the kind of person that can easily get girls to sleep with you, and there's porn everywhere, there's naked women everywhere. So it's an easy thing to turn to. Now, while I would not say no, avoid porn entirely, I would say reduce it, because apparently when the internet first came out and when everybody was using like C1, Nokia C1 or C3 or those kind of phones to watch porn, it was a lot harder. Quality was worse, screens were small, technology wasn't advanced, and you didn't have that much time to spend on your phone because you didn't have too much things to do on your phone. So you were more into the real world where you're not having sex, obviously. So, but now the people who were in that generation who like beat their meat as see if it was a thief in that generation are the ones who I'm supposing this person is like suffering from it. Maybe this guy just this night like this now was trying to get it on with somebody and then just realized, yo, this thing is fucked up, and they've been listening, so they thought maybe I should say something to save the younger ones. I can't believe I'm talking to people who are younger than me as the younger ones. But it's what it is. So I'm suspecting porn is a big contributor, not really porn, but masturbation, right? And here's why. Let me tell you the logic in my brain behind why it works like this. So sex is supposed to be you see a beautiful girl, if she's naked or she does one or two things, it arouses you, and then you can get your man up and get to work. But if at some point you, or normally in your life now, you every single day you see incredibly hot pictures of women who are not even in your own race or around on your level, you see them, I don't know how raw I can be on YouTube, but you see them having sex, right? You see them naked, you see them having sex, and every day you ejaculate to those kind of images, right? You're doing that. Some people, I believe people genuinely beat them. I mean, if you're really idle, yeah, you can beat your meat like 4 or 5 times a day, and there are boys, men who do that. So when you're fucking slamming your meat that often, you might not feel anything for a couple of years, but then at some point in the future, you realize that the accumulation of all that, you've seen these women in that state and you see it so often every day, and you do this deed to those images and those pictures and those videos. When it comes to the real thing, maybe it will not affect you now that you're young, and I don't know much about what I'm saying. If I had experienced something, then probably I'll be more vivid. But at some point, I guess, because it happens in every sphere of life, if you've had something over and over and over again, you'll be like, you're not going to move you as much anymore. So when you see those beautiful people, and if you have a wife or have a girlfriend and she's not really as hot, sexy, and as those images you like to look at, when she's ready for you, right, it's not going to give you that same effect. Sometimes you might have to pull out porn yourself before you can, or think of something you've watched before you can actually get aroused enough to do the job you're supposed to do in real life. And that's fucked up, because now that's depriving you of actual, real, rewarding, consensual relationship with a woman, with a real woman, because now you fucked up your mind with what you're looking at on the internet. Now, not say stop watching porn, but stop fucking masturbating so fucking often. And one other thing I learned is that keeping yourself, now I learned this firsthand, yeah, keeping yourself from ejaculating for a period of time actually improves something in you. There's a certain drive you feel when you, there's an explanation for this, right? But I'm going to just describe what the end result of this thing does. It gives you certain drive that gives you energy to focus on other things in your life, not physically but like mentally. The ginger, the drive you in your mind mentally. For a man, you've been inspired to do things before. There was a time I still draw, right? And there's a certain inspiration you get. It pushes you, like you're doing it, you want to stop, you might even be tired, but like there's something else that gives you energy, that gives you drive, and that thing is what drives people basically to success. Because if you have that mojo over a long period of time, you're just going to be doing the things that you have to do consistently, and then you get those end results that you're supposed to get. And then when you get those end results, you get a certain feeling of satisfaction, that dopamine hit you get from actually achieving an end result from something you've worked for. But then when you achieve your dopamine hit as easily as anything, then it's one of two things, yeah. If your drive is up here, you now get that dopamine hit at the end of the day when the driver has pushed you to do something you're supposed to do. You get that dopamine hit and you appreciate it and you want to go more for that drive. But then what does your brain do when you, because the truth is, when you ejaculate, you get that dopamine hit in your brain. And if it doesn't cost you anything to get that feeling of satisfaction and reward in your brain, to get that dopamine hit, then you are going to feel a certain sense of laziness, right? Because you can get this satisfaction feeling, this laid back feeling, this feeling of satisfaction and success without doing anything tangible and real. Only things to yourself that you do that even makes you feel satisfied. And then you are not going to be successful. Well, how do I say it like that? You're not going to have any seriousness. So, for example, if you skip yourself from doing that, it drives you to do the things you're supposed to do. And that invariably makes your life a lot better. If you keep, this thing has happened again. All right, so I'm going to confess. I have this thing where I'm looking at these lights and they're like blinding, and I try to focus away from the light and just make my point. But then when my focus shifts back and I just look at the lights again, it just, I don't kind of like reset my brain. So if you don't feel that dopamine as often, and you reward yourself with the dopamine when you do things that are actually worthwhile, then it's going to be to your own benefit. So if you masturbate so much, your brain is going to be in this constant state of happiness, relaxation, and laziness, satisfaction still, where you don't feel like you have to do anything else. You don't feel the drive to do anything else, all right, because you'll be satisfied almost all the time with where you are, with where your finances are, with where your business or your job is, and everything like that. And you will not be forced to change anything because there's no ginger in you anymore. You're wanking it all away. You're wanking away all your ginger. It's not even only your kids, it's your fucking ginger. And you just be something else or somebody. So if you're a young person, right, you're 16, you're 17, you're 19, you're 20, 21, you need to reduce it. Even if you're not getting enough cats, you need to reduce it and channel your masculine energy somewhere else. Retain it, and this thing is not going to deal with you now, but it's going to start eventually. And when it starts, it will be too late, and then you now start looking for remedies and cures everywhere. I've seen, and I didn't know that this was this bad, but now I realize that you see men now all up and down looking for supplements, taking this and that, having to do all sorts of different fucking rituals before they can have sex. And I've spoken to women who have been in hookup girls. I've spoken to hookup girls, yeah. So, and they say most adult men, right? Not adult men, like mature grown men, people in their 50s and above, they like to watch you do your thing first, or if they have two girls, they like to watch you lot do your thing first, and all of that. And you think it's some sort of kinky thing, but I say if these men didn't want these things when they were young, then it's not just a fantasy, it is literally useful for them. And then it all came together that maybe this is what gets them going, this is what gets them. And I'm not saying every of those men have wanked away their mojo, wanked away the energy they should have, but it's probably part of the reason. When there's only one type of thing that can get you going, you need that particular specific type of thing. If not, you're not going to be as effective as you're supposed to be. And that's not how it should be. You should be viral. You should be completely active well into your 50s. So they say a man's prime is at a certain age, but really, on the average, when you space it out, there should still be a considerable level of performance at whichever age from 17 till you're 60. And there are men like that, so it's not impossible. It's just to watch your habits and stop beating it like it's a thief. So I wasn't expecting to spend much time on this, but I really hope people would listen to this and take the advice. It can't stop you from wanking. If you're lonely and you're horny, you should rub one out, but don't do it like it's your job or your house chore. You get $10 every time you pop your champagne. All right, that's enough. Thank you very much for watching the Good Living Podcast. I appreciate you. Love you. See you next time.